this is my 86 300ZX. Never done a mods video, so I figured I'd go over some of the major mods that have been done to it. It's a factory NA body which started out to be a turbo swap from a factory Z31, and now it's got a relocation manifold, but I'll show you that in a minute. The front end has been swapped to 87 front end. Main reason for doing that was I actually got hit in a parking lot and this driver's side fender was crushed in, so I took all the insurance money and bought a car and swapped the front end. When I first was originally building the car, I shaved the door handles. Not something I would do again, but it does look good. Out back we got the turbo center bar from a turbo car, and of course you can't go without the tractor flapper on the exhaust. Straight pipe, currently no muffler. Here's the other side. You got the Z32 wheels, then Z32 brakes, front and rear. They work okay. Probably should go with something bigger, but it's all right. There's the front. Was it Brembo rotors for the Z32. Up front we have the SS Slip, which is a reproduction from MSA. I had the TBO on it before, but it was just a little bit too low and I was hitting it, so I ended up getting rid of that and getting this. And then here we have an old Treadstone intercooler. So for suspension, let's see if I can get the camera in here. I have the T3 front control arms, double stacked roll center adjusters, and factory turbo sway bars up front. And there you can see my dump tube for the turbo. In the rear here, see if I can get a good picture. I have a S13 rear suspension swap. And there's the aluminum drive shaft. It's a little dirty under here, but we have all stance arms, links, and then GK Tech uprights. And then for the differential, that is a Q45 differential. And the subframe was installed without a kit, and I did it making my own brackets, which is not too hard, but if I had to do it again, I would definitely buy a kit for it, just to make it that much easier. Of course, stance coilovers, because, well, that was the thing when I bought them. I think that Stance was one of the only companies when I got these that was making them at the time. So if you noticed here in the rear, I've got the kill switch for the battery relocation. So here's the battery. The main point of relocating this battery was because of the shaved door handles, and that is all the fuses that operate my poppers. So if anything goes wrong, I can just use the key in the trunk and then take care of that. Then for that battery relocation, there is, I believe it's a 250 amp or 200 amp fuse. Let's see. Yeah, 200 amp fuse. So that way it keeps everything safe. If wire gets frayed or something, it's not gonna burn the car down. All right. I still got to put some of the plastics back in here. I've had them out because I've been doing sound editing. I do have the Cusco bar that goes in here. I got to put it back. And then up front here is the auto power roll bar. Eventually I'm going to get into the actual cage, but for now that's working. All right, let's move on to the interior. The Interior is pretty stock, really. Stock seats, which are starting to fall apart, so I do need to get some new ones. I got a reproduction floor mat up in the rear and the front. This pillar pod will be going, and I will be relocating these 3 gauges. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know, I used to like it, now it's kind of gets in the way. So I'm working on that. I'll deal with that later. Then we got some gauges in the factory location, and we got an Android radio which displays all the information for my Megasquirt system that's running this car. And we don't look down there because that's still being finalized for some new stuff that I've been putting in. And then in the dash there is a shift light. If you look right there, kind of hid that in the factory cluster. Works well, actually, really bright. You can see it day or night. And then here are the gauges. It was pretty good. It's a pretty stock interior for Z31, mostly here. I do have all the rear plastics. I say I will get them back in. All right, let's move on to under the hood. Alright, we'll start off with functioning hood struts. I know not everybody has them. So, under here we have a factory VG33 with a 6762 VSR racing turbo. There's a hand-built plenum. Seems to work alright. Now this is running on Megasquirt Gold Box, so I have individual coils, 2200cc injectors, and of course no Z31 is complete without the Ford Taurus cooling fan. And here is the other side of that. This is also using a Z32 transmission, just because they're a lot easier to find. If you watch one of my other videos, you can see it on the dyno. It's currently making 582 horsepower and 580 foot-pounds of torque at 28 psi boost. Thanks for watching.